Ever found yourself watching, a brand new meme coin just taking off, and you know that split-second timing is everything?
Yeah.
Like, it's the difference between a huge win and just missing out.
Oh, absolutely. That super fast-paced world, that's what people call first-wave outer market trading.
Exactly. And today, we're going deep on a pretty fresh tool from ev.ai. It's designed specifically to give traders a real edge in that really competitive space.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how av.ai is tackling a really core problem that traders face right at the start of a token's life.
hmm
For anyone trying to catch those first big bursts of activity, keeping track of a token's journey from its initial launch, maybe on something like pump.fun, to when it hits the bigger decentralized exchanges, it's always been kind of scattered, a bit inefficient, frankly.
Totally inefficient.
Yeah.
Picture it. You see a cool new token on, say, pump.fun. That's the intermarket part, right?
Yeah.
Often with a bonding curve.
Right, bonding curve phase.
Then, if it gets popular, it jumps over to a big DX, like Radium. That's the outer market.
Yeah.
But actually tracking both, it felt like you needed, I don't know, eyes everywhere, constantly switching tabs, different dashboards. It was just clunky. And you always worried you were missing something, leaving these blind spots.
Yeah, that juggling act, that manual process, it definitely caused problems. Traders were essentially trying to make calls with only half the picture.
Right.
They might see something getting hot in the intermarket, but have no clue about what happened after it migrated or, the other way around. That lack of a single view made judging the right moment to get in or maybe get out really, really tough.
Okay, so Aave.ai's answer sounds promising. They're calling it a fully integrated token page. And the idea itself, it sounds almost, simple but powerful, bringing inner and outer market info together.
That's exactly it, all in one place.
So no more frantic tab switching, no more hoping you caught the key update.
Precisely. That integration, that's the real heart of it. Instead of looking at these two phases like totally separately.
Traders can now see the whole life cycle on one screen. It immediately solves that context switching problem, those blind spots we mentioned.
Okay.
And what's really neat, I think, is how seeing it all together lets traders connect the dots, between what happened early on and how it performed later on the bigger market.
And it's not just about putting all the data there, is it? It's how they show it. You mentioned they have a clear timeline?
Yeah, migration timeline right on the price chart itself.
Yeah.
So you can just glance at it and see the exact moment the token made that leap from maybe that bonding curve to the main DAX.
That visual marker seems huge, being able to see exactly when the migration happened.
It's incredibly valuable, because it lets you directly analyze how the price reacted to that specific event. Did it shoot up? Did it dip? Understanding that immediate post-migration action is, it's absolutely critical for anyone doing that first wave PvP trading.
Right, PvP, player versus player, that super quick reaction trading.
And I heard they also have price movement indicators, flags on the chart that pinpoint the migration.
Yes, they've added those visual flags too. It makes it really easy to see what happened just before, and maybe more importantly, what happened right after the token hit those bigger exchanges.
Yeah.
You can visually track that crucial moment.
So connecting the dots, like you said, it's about giving traders tools for faster, maybe smarter analysis.
That's the goal. Instead of relying on, scattered data or indicators that might lag behind, you get this clear, unified picture of the token's journey instantly. And that really changes how you can approach trading these very, very early stage assets.
Okay, makes sense. So let's break it down. For someone actually trading, what are the real practical advantages here? How does this integrated view help you make better trades?
Well, there are quite a few benefits. First off, much smarter entry timing.
Okay.
You can see immediately if a token is still in that early bonding curve phase, which, let's be honest, often has a totally different risk profile compared to when it's already on a major DXX.
Right, you need to know if you're super early or if it's already moved.
Exactly. Having that clarity helps you maximize potential gains, but also manage your risk much more effectively. Knowing when you're getting in is just massive.
That totally makes sense. Being early versus catching it after the first big run, huge difference. What else? What other advantages does this integration offer?
Secondly, it gives you immediate risk assessment capabilities.
Risk assessment, how so?
Well, those moments right after migration can be super volatile, right? Things like liquidity drying up, how easily you can actually buy or sell, or sudden sharp price drops. They're not uncommon.
Yeah, you hear about those rug pulls or just fizzling out.
Exactly. So having that real-time visibility, seeing what's happening with liquidity and price right away, lets traders spot those potential red flags much, much faster. They can adjust their plan, maybe cut losses instead of getting caught out.
So it's almost like an early warning system for potential trouble right after migration.
You could think of it that way, yeah. It lets you be more proactive, not just reactive, when managing risk in those first crucial minutes or hours.
Okay.
And there's another angle, too. As traders use this tool and see more data over time, they can start recognizing patterns.
Patterns like what?
Like, for instance, do certain types of tokens consistently pump hard in the inner market and then dump when they hit the outer market? Or do others show a different pattern? Spotting these recurring migration behaviors, well, that can become a really powerful edge.
Ah, so you can start to anticipate how things might play out based on past migrations, seeing the typical script.
Precisely, and that leads directly into the advantages for what we called first wave PvP trading.
Right, the quick reaction stuff.
Yeah. PvP here really means reacting incredibly fast, like in the first few minutes after a token migrates to that outer market DX. With this integrated data from av.ai, traders can react quicker and, crucially, with more accuracy. They're basically trying to get ahead of the crowd.
Okay, let's dive into that PvP aspect a bit more. You said it's about those really short windows right after migration. How does this av.ai upgrade specifically help with that?
Well, mastering PvP trading is all about capitalizing on that initial volatility, that brief opportunity window. Avi.ai's system helps because it automatically tracks the migration moment.
So you don't have to sit there refreshing constantly.
Exactly. You don't have to manually scan for it, potentially missing those first critical price moves. Then, immediately after migration, you can instantly assess things like liquidity depth.
How much money is actually there to trade with?
Right. And the volatility on the new DX, you get immediate insight into the trading environment you're stepping into.
So you can quickly see if there's enough action, enough buyers and sellers, and also like how wild the price swings are likely to be.
Precisely. And doing that quick real-time analysis massively improves your ability to anticipate what might happen next. Is this looking like a breakout where the price could surge? Or, the opposite, does it look shaky, like a potential rug pull situation? By looking at those immediate post-migration analytics, price action, liquidity, volume, you can make a much more informed bet in those crucial first few minutes. It's about trying to outsmart other traders in that initial frenzy.
It sounds like it takes something that feels really chaotic and maybe based on luck and adds a layer of strategy and data.
That's really the core value proposition here, bringing structure, bringing data-driven insight into what's often been a very unpredictable, maybe even emotional trading phase. And Avid.ai isn't positioning this as just, a minor tweak. They're framing it as a serious tool, even calling it a strategic weapon for traders aiming to really dominate those early stages.
A strategic weapon.
Okay.
That definitely highlights, they see this as more than just convenience. It's about gaining a competitive advantage.
Exactly.
And I think that really speaks to what a lot of you listening are probably aiming for. Trading faster, reacting smarter, and, ultimately trying to scale up those wins in such a high-speed market.
And it's worth remembering, too, this feature fits into Av.ai's bigger picture. They're building out a pretty comprehensive platform for on-chain trading.
Right. They integrate loads of blockchains and DEXs already.
Yeah, over 130 blockchains, I think, and more than 300 DXs. So this integrated token page is just one piece of a much larger ecosystem they're creating, aiming to give traders that really complete market view.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, our deep dive into this new integrated token page from av.ai. It really seems like a significant step up for meme coin traders, especially for those focusing on catching those initial moves right after a token migrates to a bigger exchange.
Definitely. By putting that inner and outer market data together, adding those clear visual markers for the migration, they're offering a genuinely powerful tool. It helps them make smarter, faster decisions, which hopefully leads to more profitable trades.
Absolutely. And it leaves us, and you listening, with something interesting to think about, doesn't it? Like, consider how having access to this kind of real-time integrated data fundamentally changes the game in these fast markets.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it makes you wonder, what other kinds of information advantages might pop up in the future? As technology gets better and gives us even deeper views into what's happening on chain, it's definitely food for thought as you navigate this constantly changing crypto trading world.